our members at the moment are out on strike, but we want a resolution. And the real plan that needs to come into play here is that the CEO and the board of BT need to get in the room, get their hands dirty and start negotiating. I mean, you need to understand that these people were refusing to negotiate. Every other dispute in the UK at the moment is actually involving talks. This is a company whose levels of arrogance, hypocrisy and greed know no bounds. And our members are at a tipping point. And, you know, we're in a situation where we want to get in the room. It's right that you hold people like me to account today. But where is the CEO of BT? Where are the board? Where are their negotiators? So, you know, I hope that you're going to put that pressure and ask those questions to them, because we want nothing more than a decent pay rise for our hard-working members, crucial workers that deal with the infrastructure of the UK, and they deserve that pay rise like lots of other workers in the UK.
The reason I ask you where we are today, Mr Ward, is because obviously all emergency call handlers can't go on strike at once, can they? Because, well, they just couldn't. So how is this working?
Well, let me explain, Kay, what's actually happened. So we gave dispensation to our 999 call workers not to take part in the strikes, the previous 4 strikes. Last 2.5 weeks ago, we served notice with them included because the company are refusing to negotiate. Rather than come to the table, what the company did then is get their managers and agency workers in to cover those calls, just so that they couldn't come and negotiate. Now, we were willing, and we did offer an opportunity to get involved with talks, bring fresh proposals to the table, and we were willing to do that in a way that would have brought an end to these disputes, or certainly suspend the strikes. But the company don't even pick the phone up. The company don't make any attempt whatsoever. And these are people who have given themselves 32% pay increases. The CEO, Philip Jansen, on £3.5 million, gave away £750 million to shareholders. And people are at a real tipping point here. We understand this is a really difficult moment. We really do. And it's a huge moment for our own members. But at the same time, you know, this is only about fairness. It's only about getting the deal that they can afford to give. And how you do that is get in the room and negotiate, and they don't want to do that.
OK, well, we've spoken to BT. They say the pay rise they're offering is around 5% on average and 8% for the lowest paid, which is more than nurses are getting. Why is that not acceptable?
Well, that's not true. First of all, they haven't offered a pay rise. They imposed an average pay rise of 4.8%. That's on top of a pay freeze and consolidated pay last year. So that's not a significant amount of money against the background of the current cost of living crisis and soaring inflation. It's also not true that all of those people have got that money. The lowest paid workers, actually £1,000 of what was put on the table to those workers, BT had no choice but to do that to maintain the status of a living wage employer. So, you know, they're not telling you the truth. And I come back to the point, Kate. It would be really good that rather than read out what they're saying to you, that you actually ask the question, well, where are they? Because that's what all of our members are asking at the moment.
Is this strike a responsible thing to do?
Look, our view is always that the objective is never to have a strike. I mean, you must know that. These are decent, hard-working people. No one wants to go on strike. But I come back to this point, and I don't believe it's just in BT. I think there's a disease in the UK today, in the boardrooms, of hypocrisy, greed and arrogance. And until that changes, you're going to see more and more strikes. You're going to see more and more people showing their collective strength. And all we want is a decent pay rise. This company made £1.3 billion last year, gave away £750 million to shareholders, prioritising themselves over the very people that have made those profits and that do all the hard work for this company, including, of course, our call handlers.
OK. I'm just looking at the picket line behind you as we're chatting. I wondered if you could potentially just, we're almost out of time, which is why I'm slightly hesitating about asking you another question, but if you could keep it brief, Mr Ward, I would very much appreciate it. What will you settle for?
Well, I'm not going to negotiate on air with you. We've got a set of ideas on how we could resolve this dispute, and the right way to do that, Kay, is to get in the room with the company. We'll put forward some fresh proposals. We want them to put forward some fresh proposals. That's how you resolve disputes.